is my very great honor of introducing Professor Ed Benzel, accompanied by his lovely Mary, to whom he's been married 42 years. Ed, after studying engineering and then medicine, was strongly influenced by the pioneering influences of those at Wisconsin. It seems in short order he became the chairman of the University of Mexico neurosurgery program, where his influence in the field of neurosurgery was immediately and profoundly exercised. His mission was to increase neurosurgical education in areas of hydrocephalus, Chiari, cerebrovascular disorders, trauma, sports injuries, and the prevention thereof. Moving to be chair of neurosurgery at Cleveland Clinic, Ed became a central figure in promoting education in the American Association of Neurological Surgeons, the Congress of Neurosurgeons, the Cervical Spine Research Society, the North American Spine Society, and many other organizations. He was first chair of the World Spine Society, and from 2015, he was editor-in-chief of the journal World Neurosurgery. Ed has published over 400 original manuscripts, over 500 book chapters. He has edited 28 texts and authored 10 books. But his influence extends well beyond his offices and his publications. Ed was one of the few neurosurgeons who always asked why and strove to understand the underlying pathophysiology of the disorders that we treat in neurosurgery. Professor Benzel is an icon in neurosurgery, leading by example. He taught physical discipline, running marathons every year. In fact, every year he ran his age in miles. When he turned 65, he ran 65 miles. I don't think he continued after that. As a teacher, he taught self-sacrifice, taking his personal time to instruct students and fellows and junior faculty on weekends. Ed is humble, modest, always advancing the cause of others, of women, minorities, and because of his unimpeachable integrity, his courage to always speak the truth, and his imperturbable kindness to those who work with him and around him, Ed Benzel is this year's recipient of the Excellence in Medicine Award, inscribed Ad Honorem Dei e Utilitatem Hominem. Professor Edward Benzel.
Fraser Henderson, all I can say is, wow. You talking about me? This is I stand in awe at that introduction. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to Brian and Gabriella and Caitlin for their performance tonight. It was nothing short of amazing. Fraser asked me before the performance whether if I was an opera fan, and I kind of hedged a little bit and said, yeah, kind of. I am now. Also, I was struck by your teamwork. The pianist and the singers really having not worked together on these projects, is sort of similar to the airline industry, where the pilot comes in and may not have worked with the co-pilot before. Similar in medicine, in surgery. We may be operating with a nurse or some other folks in the operating room who we've not worked with before, or different combinations of people. It all requires teamwork and striving for excellence. So thank you for illuminating that with us as well. So I feel like I am not worthy of this award. Oh, shush. And so I put some things together here, and I kind of jotted this down this afternoon and then restructured it tonight. So I also apologize to the people at my table for kind of crafting my talk while I'm supposed to be communicating with the people around me. That's not what I'm not necessarily supposed to do, but I was trying to come up with the right words. First of all, I want to thank Dorothy for all that she's done. She's her magical and loving direction has had a profound effect on this organization. But she's not alone. Andrea, Mary, and Caitlin, and others have stood beside her, behind her, in front of her, and have been pillars for her. I wanted to talk to Dorothy a little bit tonight before my talk, and there's too many of you all here. And by the way, I am in awe with the intellect titer in this room. It is off the chart. People from all walks of life, of extreme intelligence and success. So if I am incorrect about some of the historical things that I'm going to speak, you let me know, but not while I'm talking. Just talk to me later about that. I came into the fold, I think, around 2000. This is when there was an organization called ASAP, and it gradually, part of it, sort of transformed into CSF and Bobby Jones CSF in recent years, but it's still the same background. The first meeting that I know of was in Cleveland. Is that correct? Okay, so far so good. Mark Luciano was there. I'm sure there were other people there, but I distinctly remember that because Mark and I used to be partners. The second year was in St. Louis, the third year in New York, and I got this from my computer files. I keep track of my talks and my travels and things like that. And then there was, in 2004, Key Biscayne. Anybody in the room remember the bartender at the... We always hang out at the bar. Remember the bartender and doing a Neil Diamond song, Sweet Caroline. It was insane. I got a picture of you dancing to that song. And then in 2005, in Cedar Rapids, Paul Farrell was talking to me about, he says, you rode your motorcycle with your wife to New York. And I says, nah, we didn't do that. But I did ride to Cedar Rapids, okay? And there was Barth Green and Rich Ellenbogen and Rick Batsdorf. Batsdorf and I went out to look at my bike, and I actually have a picture of Rick Batsdorf on my motorcycle. And so for those of you who know him, that's sort of somewhat uncharacteristic of him. Then I've been involved with the Twinsburg fundraisers over the years. So I'm not real clear on all this transformation, but in 2010, I spoke at a gala event here in New York. And Rick Batsdorf and Barth Green and Rich Ellenbogen and others, Tom Millerat, Roger Kula, Allison Ashley Cook, Marcy Spears, may she rest in peace, a valuable friend and colleague and a major contributor to this program, had an untimely end to her life. Mark, Dominic, Marino, and Paul Farrell and others gutted it out, kind of transformed. This was a hump, in my opinion, this time frame, where the organization went from struggling to seeing success. Am I correct again? Okay, good. I just want to get feedback from Dorothy. So I had my notes from this talk, as I have here, I wanted to talk about gathering information, a little bit about philosophy, a little bit about humor, and to keep it short, as my wife always reminds me, including tonight. She says, please keep it short. So the strengths of the organization that I outlined that night were the people. Knowing that we don't know everything and that there are knowledge gaps, and the hunger to fill those gaps. This organization has really and truly done these things. What has transpired over the last decade or so is nothing short of amazing. We are clearly over a hump with a new organization and a new injection of energy, and with a doing what's right philosophy. Do what's right, the rest will come. Dorothy tells me that I played a role, a seminal role in the development, early development of the organization. And so I'd like to speak just a little bit about that. At about the same time, we were building a multidisciplinary spine program. Orthopedic surgeons, neurosurgeons, PM&R folks, psychologists, etc., all in one unit at the Cleveland Clinic to manage patients with spine disorders, which was sort of unique at the time around the country. Don Long has accomplished that at Hopkins, but very few places have been able to achieve this type of work. And what we did was focus on leadership, a board of trustees to guide us, a board of directors to help with that guidance and business information from the board of trustees, and mission and vision statements. These are some of the elements that are critical to an organization to get it off on the right step. So that's a little bit of the history. As per Ed Benzel, whose mind isn't as good as it used to be, I thank you all for the honor, but more importantly, I thank those in the past, in the present, and the future who are gutting it out to be successful. And with the notion of always doing what's right. Thank you very much.